Hey guys, this is Zubin Pratap. Just wanted to have a chat with you today about how to know whether you're serious or not about your career change to become professional coders. Now, for those of you who don't know me, I was a lawyer for many, many years, over 14 years. And then I went into the startup world, was non-technical. I also went into the business world for a while as a commercial manager and lead in management. And then eventually I taught myself to code when I was, in a pretty rough spot, both financially after my startup failed, and also after many, many years of investing. By that time, it was more than 16 years or 17 years investing in a career. I was 37, maybe 38, and I finally taught myself to code after 4 years of struggling and failing and doing all the wrong things, all the mistakes that can be made. And so today, I'm lucky enough to be a software engineer at Google. And the world is full of opportunities at startups and with the entire Web3 crypto sort of movements. There are so many opportunities for people who are hungry to learn and hungry to develop their career. And it doesn't matter what age you are. I mean, if I was 38, one of my students actually was over 60 years old, a retired nurse, and she wanted to do part-time web dev as a freelancer. And she was over 60 years old, and she learned. That's how she did it. So don't hold yourself back for any of these things. But what I do want to point out is that I've noticed a certain trait in the people who successfully manage to change their career, especially to code, but it's true of anything else. And I think you'll find a lot of the stuff I talk about is not just specific to code, because people think there's something special about coding. There isn't. Ultimately, career change is about much more than just learning the skill. That's one part of it. But then everybody who shows up to the interview has that skill, right? That's the minimum requirement for getting the job. So over-indexing and focusing too much on just the skill is going to be a very seriously, fatally incomplete part of your strategy, or rather incomplete strategy. You need a lot more than just learning the skill, and that includes learning to code. That's actually, honestly, the easy part. So going back to what I've seen people, the successful career changers do over and over again, and this includes some of the people that I've coached, is that they will let their actions speak louder than their words. Okay, it's become very fashionable these days for people on Twitter, and blogs and Instagram and all to talk about all the great things they've done. And to be honest, they're doing it more for the publicity of it and to show the world, hey, look, I'm cool. I'm this coder, I'm self-taught, or I'm doing this crypto stuff. Oh, look, I made $50,000 in some random NFT, whatever it is, right? People want to show pony a lot and show off a lot and present themselves a certain way. But the guys who are actually doing really interesting things or doing pretty incredible things, they're not talking that much. They're doing a lot more. And so the principle that I want to talk to you about today is quite simply that actions, they do speak louder than words, okay? And so you need to really absorb what that means. If actions speak louder than words, what does that actually mean? And what are you doing? What are your actions? And what are your words? And where do you stand on that measurement, right? So the first thing to realize is that your actions will produce the results in your life, not the words. No matter what you say, no matter, not even how much you think. Doesn't matter how deeply and how brilliantly you think. Doesn't matter how much you read or know or how much you think you know. None of that matters. What matters, what produces results in this universe is action. Okay? All effects, all consequences, all outcomes are the result of certain inputs or causes. And causes are usually actions. Okay, now your actions do go one step back, and your actions are often the result of your beliefs and your thoughts. But that's something I can cover a great deal more if you want in another video. Just let me know in the comments. But at the heart of it, it's your actions that are going to produce results in your life. I can't emphasize this enough, and it's really, really super important that you completely internalize this message. Okay, if your actions are the actions that are aligned with your goal, then it's not a question of if you're going to succeed. It becomes a question of when you're going to succeed. Okay, then it's just literally a question of time. There's no question about whether you're going to succeed. You're going to succeed. It's just then a matter of time. So the first thing you got to do is audit your actions. And what do I mean by audit your actions? It literally means you've got to track and measure. Like if you were going to the gym and you were counting calories or measuring your macronutrients or checking how much you ate in a day and whether it's according to your diet plan, you're auditing your actions, right? It's the same thing with learning to code or any other career change or learning any other complex skill. The first and number one thing you've got to do is track the actions you're taking every single day towards that goal. Let me give you an example from my life. When I was teaching myself to code and I had the right coaches and mentors, the right team, as I called it, around me to help me power through, I had a very clear goal of doing at least 6 hours of coding a day, somehow, okay? And that includes average across the weekend. So on weekends, I'd sometimes do 12 to 15 hours. Now, people think that's crazy and all the rest of that. Look, if you try to run a marathon, if you try to do, even 20 kilometers and you've never run before, yeah, that's crazy. But if you built it up over time, doing a 12 or 14-hour day of coding is actually not that hard if you have the right practices. So I cut out a whole bunch of things. This is what I mean by auditing your actions, right? I tracked every hour of every day that I was awake. I tuned myself to sleep for 6.5 to 7 hours a day. That worked for me. It may not work for everybody. And the rest of the time, I had pretty much planned down to the last hour. Yeah, it was hard on my family, it was hard on my wife, etc. But I had a goal and I wasn't going to compromise on it. So auditing your actions means, are you doing the things that you said you're going to do, that your goal demands that you do? And are you minimizing, if not eliminating altogether, all the things that aren't going to help you? That includes hanging out at the pub, watching, binge watching things on Netflix, whatever it is, okay? There is a price you've got to pay. So first one is audit your actions. The second thing is audit your focus. When you're doing the things that are aligned with your goal, assuming that you've got your day optimized for the actions that will produce the results of success that you intend to achieve in your life, then you got to audit your focus. Okay, so let's say you intend to spend 10 hours a day on average doing things that take you closer to your goal, right? Even if it's not exactly if you're not sure it's exactly right, at least it's in the right direction. Not going in the wrong direction is super important. So let's say you've done that. Let's say you've now got a rhythm of, you're doing 25 hours a week, completely dedicated to your goal. Great. Now we need to audit your focus. Of that 25 hours, how much time did you spend on things that are actually going to produce the results you want? What are things that are actually going to help you know whether you're directionally correct, whether you're doing the right, learning the right skills, whether you're learning the right skills in the right order? Because this is a big problem with learning to code, especially if you're doing it on your own without the right coaching, is that you will learn the wrong things or you will learn the right things in the wrong order, both of which are pretty fatal. It's like trying to bake a cake. And if those of you who aren't, cooks, I'm not a very good cook myself, but I do know that if you're baking a cake, the ingredients is important, and the order of operations, the order of mixing and combining the ingredients is also super important to the success of the cake. And it's no different for anything else in life. There are recipes that you need to find out and follow. So if you are spending and focusing time, if you've managed to carve out the right time and the right sort of actions to take you closer to your goal, you need to make sure that you fill that time with things that are worth focusing on. So that's the next step. You got to audit your focus. Then after that, all you've got to do is track the data on your progress and whether your decisions are right. Okay? What does that mean? So that means that the choices that you make, every day in connection with your goal, are the data that you have to go with. Okay, that's the information that you use to analyze your progress. So how can I help you with an example on that? Well, if you are choosing to learn, let's say you want to learn to become a machine learning engineer, right? If you start learning HTML and CSS, that's a very obvious example, but I know some people have made this mistake. HTML and CSS is a very limited, if not any, probably zero value for most people who want to become data scientists or machine learning engineers. Now, if you're a data scientist and you spend most of your time and you choose to spend most of your time learning advanced or intermediate ML algorithms, machine learning algorithms, that's also, while you're spending a lot of time in the direction of your goal, if you audit your focus and you look at the data, you'll realize that you're spending your time on things that are not important for your first job as a data scientist. A lot of data science, many data science, in fact, I think most data science jobs do not have much to do with machine learning, okay? Now, this may come as news to you, so I definitely encourage you to check the video with me and Dhaval Patel that I've got on my channel. And he breaks down the difference between data science, machine learning, artificial intelligence, and so on and so forth, and how, in his experience, and he's got more than 20 years experience, people spend far too long on the wrong subjects thinking it's all related, and it's not, okay? So that's how you use the choices that you make as data, as input for validating whether or not you're going in the right direction. And finally, the ultimate data point for whether or not you're doing the right thing is the results you're producing. And ultimately, no matter how well you write code, no matter how great your gradient descent algorithms may work, no matter what data set you've cracked, no matter what Kaggle competition you won, no matter what beautiful portfolio of of projects you have, and awesome design sort of portfolios you produced on GitHub or whatever it is, no matter how good that is, you have not succeeded in your goal of changing career to become a coder if you have not got your first job. Okay, the first job is the most important one because that's what actually puts you in the industry, legitimizes you, gives you the data you need, and actually proves that you are hireable or employable. Now, we spend far too much time focusing only on the learning to code business instead of actually working out how to actually become a coder. And they're two very different things. If you've been following me for any length of time, I keep harping on about this one central idea. This one idea will revolutionize your journey in terms of learning to code to become a coder. Your journey doesn't stop with learning to code. A lot of people do, unfortunately, especially if they've gone to a boot camp or something, the journey sort of stalls out and plateaus out after the boot camp because they think learning to code is the whole game. It's 1/8 of the game, okay? Literally one piece out of 8 pieces in the puzzle. There's a different video that I've got up on that as well, so go check it out. So ultimately, your results are going to be the ones that prove to you whether or not the actions you took are right. So all this entire system of thinking is basically to prompt you to really introspect and be super clear. Actions speak louder than words. If you are talking about how you're going to be a coder, you better be taking the right actions because just talking about it isn't going to get you there. Okay, if you're going to talk about getting into FAANG or getting into any startup and earning a lot of money in equity or whatever it is, or when they go public, sorry, all that talk's not going to help you. Okay. And you have to take the right actions for that. So let me summarize. Start by auditing your actions, making sure that your day is filled with the actions as much as possible. And you'd be surprised how much is possible if you're willing to make sacrifices. Spend as much time as you can doing the things that will help you take you closer to your goal. And your goal is not just to learn to code, it's to actually become a paid coder. And a highly paid coder, judging by the salaries that are going on right now. It's quite crazy. And the next thing you do after auditing your actions is check that the actions that you're taking and the time that you're devoting towards your goal are spent on the things that are worth focusing on, that are worth putting all that time and energy in, because you've got to do the right things in the right order to get the results you want. It's not enough to just set out the time and do things. You've got to do the right things. And then with that, you use the data. Your choices are your data. The choices that you make are the data as to whether or not you're going in the right direction. And then finally, you use the results you get as the final evidence as to whether or not all your actions, all your choices are the right ones for you. Okay, so that's just something I wanted to share with you guys today. Please, if you're getting any value out of this, or you'd like to learn more, or you want to interact with me and ask me a few questions, drop a comment below. Certainly like and subscribe so that you can get more videos like this. As you can see, I'm very informal in the way I do my videos. I'm not all about the fancy glitz. To me, if you're serious about learning, it won't matter how beautifully edited my videos are, how perfect and gimmicky they are. You're not here for entertainment. You're here to change your life, and I can help you do that. Focus on what I'm saying, not how pretty my video is, okay? Because this is ultimately going to help in your success journey. Again, this is a question of focus. If you think a well-made video is what's going to decide your future, you're wrong. You can learn from anywhere, and you should be trying to learn from people who've done what you're trying to do. So please do like and subscribe. Please do drop in some comments if you agree, disagree, want to ask me a question. I try and respond to all of them as honestly as I can, and as clearly and quickly as I can. I look forward to speaking to you in more videos, and please do stay in touch. Cheers.